Examiners listen to 20, sometimes 22 candidates in a single day. By candidate number 15, they've heard, I went to the beach, it was nice, I had fun, about 100 times.
In this episode, we're going to teach you how to tell stories that make examiners sit up and actually listen.
Because here's the thing, your content might be fine, your grammar might be decent, but if your stories are boring, you're blending into the background with everyone else. Let's fix that.
And this is such an important topic. I'm Felicity, that's Anthony, and welcome to another episode of IELTS Speaking Podcast.
This is actually episode 15, and it's part of our Examiner Secret series. So the advice you're about to hear comes from over 10 years of Rio examiner experience, thousands of actual tests. And I can tell you firsthand, storytelling is where most candidates lose points without even realizing it.
Because it's not about what you say.
It's about how you say it. Two candidates can describe the exact same trip to the beach. One gets band 5, one gets band 8. The difference? Storytelling technique.
So what are we covering today?
3 specific techniques that transform boring answers into engaging ones. First, start with the interesting part, not the boring setup. Second, use specific sensory details that paint a picture. Third, create an emotional arc that keeps the examiner hooked.
These work for part 1, part 2, and part 3. Basically, anytime you need to describe an experience or give an example.
So let's dive in. Okay, before we get into the techniques, I want you to understand something. Put yourself in the examiner's shoes for a second.
All right.
You've been examining since 8 a.m. It's now 2 p.m. You've heard, 15, 18 candidates, and every single one of them, when asked about a memorable trip, has said some version of, last year I went to Bali with my family. We stayed in a hotel. The weather was nice. I went to the beach. We ate local food. It was very interesting and I had a good time.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
right? It's not wrong. The grammar's okay, but it's so forgettable. There's nothing to grab onto. Nothing that makes you think, oh, tell me more.
And if the examiner isn't engaged?
They're not hearing your best language. They're just waiting for it to end. And that affects how they perceive your fluency, your vocabulary, everything.
So here's technique number 1.
Most students tell stories in chronological order. First this happened, then this happened, then this happened. The problem is, the interesting part is usually at the end. By the time you get there, you've run out of time or the examiner has tuned out.
So what's the fix?
Start with the hook. Start with the moment that makes someone go, wait, what?
Can you give an example? Let's say the question is, describe a time you tried something new.
Here's the boring way. Last summer, I decided to try surfing. I went to the beach with my friend. We rented surfboards. The instructor taught us the basics. Then we went into the water. It was difficult, but I managed to stand up eventually.
I mean, it's fine, but yeah, nothing exciting.
Now, here's the same story, but starting with the interesting part. I'll never forget the moment when I actually stood up on that surfboard. I mean, I'd fallen off probably 20 times. My arms were shaking, I'd swallowed half the ocean, and I was ready to give up. But then suddenly, everything clicked. I was actually surfing. And honestly, that 10 seconds felt like the biggest accomplishment of my entire summer.
Oh, wow, that's completely different.
Same experience, but I started with the payoff, the emotional moment. Then I can fill in the background. So this was last summer in Bali. My friend had convinced me to try surfing for the first time.
You hooked them first, then gave the context.
Exactly. The phrase I used was, I'll never forget the moment when. That's a great opener because it signals something memorable is coming.
Let's practice that. Say it with me. I'll never forget the moment when.
I'll never forget the moment when.
Good. Use that to start your next story.
All right, technique 2. Use specific sensory details.
What do you mean by sensory?
I mean things you could see, hear, feel, smell, or taste. Things that put the examiner in the scene with you. Here's the difference. First, the generic version. The restaurant was nice. The food was delicious. I enjoyed it.
Now, let's hear the sensory version.
The restaurant had these low wooden tables and paper lanterns everywhere. And the smell when you walked in, this mix of grilled meat and like ginger and garlic, I remember my mouth was watering before we even sat down,
I can actually picture that.
right? And notice I didn't use fancy vocabulary, low wooden tables and paper lanterns. These are simple words, but they're specific. They paint a picture.
So it's not about using impressive vocabulary.
It's about being precise. Nice restaurant tells me nothing. Low wooden tables and paper lanterns. Now I can see it. Same with emotions. Don't say I was happy. Say, I remember I couldn't stop smiling, like my face actually hurt by the end of the night.
That's so much more vivid.
The key is to ask yourself, what would a camera capture? What would a microphone pick up? Describe that.
If this is landing for you, by the way, hit subscribe. We release new episodes every week with more insider tips like this.
Okay, final technique. This is the one that really separates Band 7 from Band 8. It's called creating an emotional arc.
Emotional arc.
Yeah, every good story has a shape. It's not just this happened, then this happened. There's a journey. Usually it goes uncertainty or challenge to turning point to outcome or realization.
And you break that down.
Sure, think about any good movie. The character starts in one emotional place, faces some kind of challenge or change, and ends up somewhere different. Your IELTS stories should do the same thing on a tiny scale.
Give us an example. Okay, let's say the topic is describe a time you overcame a difficulty.
Flat version with no arc is like, I had to give a presentation at work. I was nervous. I practiced a lot. The presentation went well. My boss was happy.
That's just a list of events.
Exactly. Now here's the version with an emotional arc. So I had to give this presentation to about 50 people at work, which honestly terrified me. I've always been the kind of person who avoids public speaking at all costs. The night before, I barely slept. I kept imagining everything that could go wrong, forgetting my words, the slides not working, people looking bored. But then, when I actually stood up there, something weird happened. About 30 seconds in, I noticed people were nodding, actually engaged, and I thought, wait, this is going okay? By the end, I was almost enjoying it, which shocked me more than anyone. Looking back, I realized that experience completely changed how I see myself. I'm still not a natural presenter, but I know now that I can do it when I need to.
That's a journey. I felt nervous with you.
Right? There's an arc, starting point, fear, avoidance, challenge, the actual presentation, turning point, noticing people were engaged, outcome, realization, and growth. And notice the phrase I use at the end. Looking back, I realized.
That signals reflection.
Exactly. It shows you're not just reporting events, you're making meaning from them. That's sophisticated thinking, and examiners love it. Let's practice that phrase. Looking back, I realized.
Say it. Looking back, I realize.
Perfect. Use that to close your stories with reflection. All right, let's put all three techniques together. Same story, two versions.
Topic: describe a memorable journey.
Here's the before. No storytelling technique. Flat, listing. Last year, I took a train from Beijing to Shanghai. It was a long journey, about 5 hours. I looked out the window and saw the scenery. I ate some food on the train. When I arrived, I was tired but happy. It was a nice experience.
That's fine, but forgettable.
Now, after, with all three techniques, engaging, natural, varied pace. I'll never forget looking out that train window somewhere between Beijing and Shanghai, watching the landscape change from these massive glass skyscrapers to rice paddies and small villages. It was like watching a different China unfold. What really stood out was this moment about 3 hours in. I'd been stressed about work, checking my phone constantly. But then the Wi Fi cut out and I just stopped. I watched an old man in the seat across from me doing calligraphy on a tiny piece of paper. So precise, so calm. The funny thing was, I'd taken this trip for a work meeting. But looking back, I realized that 5 hour journey taught me more about slowing down than any meditation app ever had.
That's beautiful. And it's the same journey.
Same journey, but now it has a hook that drops you into the scene. Specific sensory details, skyscrapers, rice paddies, the old man doing calligraphy, an emotional arc, stress to forced disconnection to unexpected lesson. That's how you tell stories that examiners actually want to hear.
All right, let's recap with 3 quick wins you can use in your next practice session.
Let's hear them.
Clear and upbeat.
Quick win number one, start with the interesting part. Don't build up to the good bit, lead with it. Use phrases like, I'll never forget the moment when, or what I didn't expect was. Hook them first, then fill in the background.
Quick win number 2, use specific sensory details. Ask yourself, what would a camera see? What would a microphone hear? Don't say nice restaurant. Say low wooden tables and paper lanterns. Be precise, not impressive.
Quick win number 3, create an emotional arc. Your story should have a journey, uncertainty to turning point to realization. And with reflection, using looking back, I realize to show you're making meaning, not just listing events.
And here are the key phrases to practice.
I'll never forget the moment when.
What really stood out was.
The funny thing was,
What I didn't expect was.
looking back, I realize.
Write those down. They're your storytelling toolkit. Use them in part 1, part 2, part 3, anywhere you need to describe an experience.
And that's episode 15, Storytelling Secrets Straight from the Examination Room. If this helped you, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.
What is coming next?
Enthusiastic. Next episode, we're tackling part 3 opinion questions, specifically the popular people topic. You know, those questions like, do you think good teachers need to be popular with their students?
Oh, those are tricky.
They are, because there's no right answer, but there is a right way to answer. I'm going to give you the exact framework for handling opinion questions with confidence, even when you're not sure what to say.
Can't wait.
It's called Why Are Some People More Popular? Discussion Masterclass. Make sure you catch it.
Until then, practice those storytelling phrases. And remember, examiners are human. Tell them stories they actually want to hear.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.